talking about overcoming the fear of sales, and we're doing it from a different place. And I hope it will be as exciting for you when you as you listen through as it was for me as I prepared. Let me just find my notes. So when we go back to purpose for a little bit, most of us, when we're in the place of purpose, it's easy until the day somebody says, "What do you actually do?" And when you understand that every conversation you have is a sales conversation, all right? So if I ask Julia what she does and she says she's a sign language interpreter, I'll be like, what does that mean? Where do you do it? So in that general space, for many of us, we're comfortable. However, when it gets to the place where now we must talk money or we must talk value given or those things, that is actually where we get stuck. But really, sales is the ability to convince somebody to buy what you have, right? But what about if I put it this way? Um, do you memory where somebody said you are too much or you are not enough? Do any of us have those kinds of memories? If you have, um, put a TM in the chat. Sometimes some also told we talk too much, we are dramatic, and we are. What are the things that people said to us? I'd like to hear what people said to us that really got us uncomfortable with speaking about ourselves. Let me see some of them in the chat. Here, so Julia, you're with me. You've been told you are too much. All right. Someone else. What are the other things they say? Um, Too much, dramatic. You talk too much. You are. Oh, who has ever been told don't embarrass yourself? My son calls it TMI. Okay. Um, she can't balance leadership and books. Uh-huh. What else have we been told? Some other ones? Things that you took to heart that have affected your capacity to speak. What are those things that happened? Maybe one or two more. All right. Too sensitive. Oh, that's a big one. And we get told that a lot as women, don't we? Now imagine that that is the too studious. I have enrolled in several courses. You are too intense. Ah, okay. You're my colleague who are too intense. I've also been told that. Now, mirror that to the next time you tried to tell somebody something you are doing. What happened? Did you speak with confidence? Did you diminish yourself? What happened? The next time you needed to tell somebody what you do. Happened. Did anything happen? Did you speak freely and comfortably? You're too studious, you're too intense, you're too sensitive. So the next time you went to speak, what happened? You shrunk, or you're like, it's never that serious. You walked away, right? So for many of us, you become too cautious at times, affecting your personality, little confidence and filtering. I don't trust they would listen. Ah, you see, all these things, that's what things you learn. And I didn't trust that I could do it. Excellent. So could it then be that the capacity, the inability to sell is not a skills gap, it's an identity wound? Let me let that settle for half a minute. Could it be an identity wound? So that because you have internalized the too much, too little, too sensitive, too whatever it is they said about you, it has now become an identity wound. So now you operate from the place of, why should I speak if I'm too much? You see, sales requires visibility. Visibility triggers memory. So if I stand up to speak, I remember it comes to my ear, that thing that was said about me. So then it could be that you could actually be able to sell if you are able to overcome that thing. So we don't avoid sales because we lack value. We avoid it because putting ourselves out there feels unsafe. Makes sense to anybody? I can see the yaw in the chat. All right. So if we leave this identity issue unresolved, then we stall. Whether it is in career progression, because now we fail to speak up when we accomplish things, we do not document the things we have achieved, so everybody else gets credit except you. So your business stalls because you cannot go out there and close that deal. I'm sorry, I see for somebody that wound has just popped open by the realization. So let's now work at it so that the wound heals as opposed to just be a scab that's closing and then we're done. So if we do not address these matters, we will not progress in our careers and we will not progress in our businesses. So you are not unable to sell per se because you can't. It is that most of us are carrying an identity wound. So, what we must do is understand the fear of sales as an emotional and psychological barrier, not a tactical one. You have the tactics, you put up so many posts, you put your face out there, somebody asks you the price, and you freeze. Or you get everything together, but you never put it out because what if they will reject me? Or you are so pressured to perform that you get on stage and you freeze. Then now, whatever action you take, which mirrors the past, becomes a reinforcement of you cannot do it. Does that make sense? Have you seen that of yourself? So we work so desperately not to be manipulative in our sales that we get stuck. But when sales are done well, you draw from your place of courage. You draw from your place of a knowledge of self. It's not performance with fear, which means then we must steady and we must level whatever it is going on inside us and not steal the inner voice, but heal the inner wound. And then after that, we're able to sell well. If this makes sense to you, please put an MS in the comments, in the chat for means make sense. MS means make sense. All right. So, excellent. So, sales fear is often rooted in early rejection, not present reality. What hurt you then, and then you try to protect yourself from it now. You build up this force field, this wall that doesn't allow you to go past. You hit this invisible wall all the time. There's a movie called The Dome where there was this earth shaking thingy and a dome fell over a town. Some were in, some were out. So every time you came to the dome and you touched it, you got shocked. So the people in couldn't get out and the ones out couldn't get in. That's kind of what the fear of sales does to us from that early rejection. Again, avoidance feels like safety. It feels like if I don't do it, then I'll be fine. But that limits your growth. Make sense? So you go all in, you because of fear, and when somebody rejects you, you hit the wall and you come back. Sorry, my connection is a little bit unstable. Let me see if to stabilize. Okay, there we go. So it's the past that is hurting you, and the past teaches you if you do that, you get hurt. So what do? We avoid getting hurt. We feel safe, but we are stunted now because what you don't offer cannot help somebody. What you don't speak up about cannot be recorded in the books of progression in corporate, and so you don't get that promotion. All right? I hope that makes sense. The third thing is then rejection is feedback and it's not a verdict on your worth. I was watching something today on TikTok and it said maybe rejection, if you recalibrate it to look at it in terms of it is the wrong room, it is the wrong door, it is not the right time, as opposed to you are not enough. And most of us interpret rejection to mean you are not enough. And no is not a statement about you, it is a choice the other person is making. I tell people no is a full sentence. Okay. So if I'm going to say no, I've always said it to my son. If my no is supposed to be valid, his no is supposed to be valid. All right. So rejection is feedback, it's not a verdict on your worth. And confidence is built through truth and repetition, not hype. So yeah, the last time you pitched it, it didn't work. So sit down and assess. Was I clear? Did they understand what I wanted? So the issue was the price. Okay. So then did I map my market well? So I was talking to the right people, or was I talking to the wrong people? So I was talking to the right people, but was it the right time? Not, oh my goodness, I am so, we're not doing that with ourselves this time. All right. So if confidence is built through truth, then the first part of truth must be yourself, which means you must be able to evaluate how you did effectively and clearly. I hope that makes sense. So now, if fear is often rooted in early rejection, avoidance feels safe, but it's hindering us. Rejection is feedback, and we must build our confidence by trying and repeating. How do we do this? And I will give, I think it's 4 steps. There's 3 steps. So I'll give 3 steps, and then we can have a conversation, whichever way it goes from the floor. So, step number 1, recognize the fear. Don't diminish it, don't deny it, don't hide it under the carpet. Recognize that I am afraid. So, fear of sales or fear of putting yourself out there often shows up as over preparation but never launching. How many of us can recognize that? Changing offers again and again so there's no consistency. I hope some of us see ourselves avoiding follow-ups. So if somebody says, call me on Monday, yeah, done, finished. We're not talking to that person again. All right. Consistently say, I'm not ready. And it also looks like downplaying your value. Now, everybody in the room, I've done all those things before. I'm at a conference and I'm doing a lot of work, and it's very easy when people say thank you to say it's nothing. Yet we have spent, some of us have spent almost sleepless nights trying to collate lists and get things working. I ran a bit late because there's a segment of our community at the conference who we were settling at a different location. And because I'm the conference admin, I've been doing registrations. I needed to go with them, get them started, and come back. So it is easy for me to say we will not have QSS because I'm busy. But I have a covenant with God to show up every Tuesday, right? So the thing I had to understand is I must show up with or without a presentation. They're not ready, all prepped. I just didn't have the opportunity to turn it into a presentation because today is day 1 of the conference. All right. So, what do we ask ourselves when we recognize fear? What am I afraid of? What will happen? What am I afraid of? Or what am I afraid will happen if people say no? I learned to say the worst they can do is say no. That's the worst. That's the worst they can do. Really, I mean, they say no and then, see, we go on with life. We can only move on with life if no is not um, a, a prison sentence or a death sentence, right? The next thing you could ask yourself is, what did I learn about being seen when I was younger? Now, if you're from my generation, our generation was the one of to be seen and not heard. So, could that be a thing that makes me fearful of presenting myself in public? Or the other of women should be seen and not heard. So then you have lived for so long in a patriarchal society that puts women down that you cannot speak. Or as a gentleman, you are told, wacha kuongea ongea, stop just talking, give us solids. But you still don't have solids. Or the other question would be, whose voice do I hear when I hesitate? For our generation, I don't know about the younger ones. Us guys, our parents are here in the years 24/7, 365, maybe even 366. Eh? And it was always, you mean you can't? Can't you? What? I mean, it was always so rough and abrasive. So when you recognize the fear, recognize the voice that you're hearing, recognize the thing you learned as a child and you still do, recognize what you are afraid of people who say no, or what you're afraid will happen when people say no. You see, fear enters when identity is questioned. So if I am not confident in who I am, then fear will be my close companion. But when I get clear, who is Chesuvire in the scheme of things? What has God said about her? What has she accomplished to date? Clarity will restore courage. And as yes, facing the childhood traumas is hard, it is mandatory, because you cannot become the fullness of who you are designed to be if you haven't dealt with and faced those traumas. If you haven't come back and tasted them and you're like, no longer tastes right, we have to do away with these things. And I do not diminish the fact that healing from those childhood traumas takes time, but you have time. You really do have time. All right. So, point number one, recognize the fear, see how it shows up, and ask yourself those three critical questions. Number two, overcome the fear. And this is where now we begin to do the big work. All right. So, separate your identity from an outcome. I am Chesuvire. I am not Chesuvire because I made a sale this week. I am Chesuvire, daughter of the Most High, a biological daughter of Budeu and Stephen, mother of one. But that's you get my drift. I'm a storyteller. I'm a game changer. I'm a barrier breaker. Separate your identity from the outcome. So I don't stop being Chesuvire if I don't sell today. I have a book I'm retailing. If I don't sell the book every day, I'm not less of Chesuvire. I just didn't make a sale. All right. So number one is separate your identity from the outcome. You are not the result of the pitch or the sale or the conversation or the proposal. You are an individual in your own right. Number one. Number two, reframe rejection. Understand it is somebody's opinion of something you presented, not humiliation. It is the rejection of information, not of you as a person. It is the rejection of information, not of me as Jesubire. So reframe rejection. Number 3, anchor your offer in service. You are offering to help. So how do you position what you're offering as a response to a real need I have? You are not asking me to tell you whether what you have is good or bad. You are offering a specific solution for a specific problem. So if I'm planning your wedding, my role is to show up to solve every little problem you have and preemptively figure what the next step is. All right? If I'm fixing your tire, my role is to ensure that that hole is sealed, not to ask you if you know how to seal it. The question is, I look at the hole in your tire, I look at the hole in your tire, I see how big it is, whether putting in that the strip patch will close it, or whether we need to put a gator. Gator ni, what is gator? It is they burn the inside of your tire, take another piece of tire and fix it there and then put the puncher piece on top. So it's a double fix on your tire too, if it is a wider cut. So I would be coming to say to you, your cut is 3 inches wide, you need a getter. And this works because, and we have done it on so many people, however, it lasts you for X kilometers. So we recommend you buy a new tire. I'm selling tires. So I recommend you buy a new tire. If you say, no, I'm not going to buy a new tire, which will earn me 4,000 bob, that you will do the gator is 1,000 shillings. Make sense? So you are not asking me whether gator works or not. You are telling me it works. All right. And then number 4, you start small and stay consistent. You see, if I'm going to face that childhood wound, unfortunately, I have ripped it open for some people today, but I will begin to work on where did it start? Who said it first? Why did it hurt? So I'm going question by question, step by step, move by move. That's how we're going, all right? Because confidence grows with exposure when exposure is done safely and repeatedly. All right? So I get more confident by taking one step today. It hurt, but it wasn't that bad. Another step tomorrow, another step the next day, and I go step by step by step by step. And eventually, I'm confident. So I do not expect you to leave here and be at 100%. I expect that you would leave here and set out one thing to do tomorrow, another on Thursday, another on Friday, another on Saturday. All right? And finally, replace old narratives with truth. Truth is, I failed at that sale. The old narrative would be, I am a failure. I'm not a failure. I failed at that one thing. Doesn't make me a failure. Or old narrative, I will be embarrassed. And then you begin to say to yourself, I am allowed to be visible and useful. Old narrative, I won't get it right. Truth, I will get it right when I try. Make sense? So what you're doing, you're looking at what could be a limiting belief. We all sometimes call it an ungodly belief, and you're replacing it with a new reality. Sometimes you need to get up early and you may tell yourself, I never wake up early. Truth is, I'm allowed to increase my wake up time slowly. So let's say I want to move from waking up at 7 to waking up at 4 a.m. You realize it is very, very difficult for the average one of us to go from 7 to 4. However, if you move from 7 to 6:30, 6:30 to 6, 6 to 5:30, 5:30 to 5, to 4:30 to 4. Or you can go from 7 to 6 to 5 to 4. You have to be telling yourself a different thing. So you replace the old narratives with truth. You would start with, I can do all things through Christ who gives me strength. That's a foundational scripture for me. So when I meet something that I'm grappling with, I come back and I remind myself, all things are possible for them who believe. So what is this one that has defeated me? And then I unpack. What is it that's not working? Why does it keep getting turned down? What can I test? So you see, when you're anchoring in service, what that actually is a minimum viable product test with the market. Oh, we don't like the color. No, 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 no. Change the color. Come back. Do you like the shade of blue? Huh? Is what we like. Now we don't like the texture. Okay, we do texture. So when they say I don't like the product, the question is not, the response is not okay. You're like, what part don't you like the most? Or what do you like the least? And why is that an issue? So as they're telling you why it's an issue, so if we, and you give possible solutions, right? Then they're like, if we did this, can we bring it back for a test again? And the answer could be yes, the answer could be no. But what you have done in that response, you have added information to your pool. So that's how we overcome fear. Because we know what we need, we're working against. We start small, we stay consistent, and we work on replacing the narratives we are speaking to ourselves. So step number one is recognize the fear. Step number two is overcome. And step number three is maintain confidence over time. You see, when confidence is based on our emotions, it fades. When it's based on a system or based on truth, not only does it last, it grows. So is your confidence based on emotions or thoughts, or is it based on systems and truth? Why is that important? To maintain confidence, we must have a clear identity. We must know who we are. We must know what problem our product or service or solution answers and why it's the right answer, which means you must have a clear offer you believe in. And you must use simple scripts so emotion doesn't lead. Remember, you're answering a problem. So you don't lead by your emotions, you lead by connecting with the other person's emotions. How do you maintain confidence? You track effort. You know, we did 52 sessions. In each session, we had 10 people. Once in no, sorry, in 35, we had 10 people. In 10, we had 25 people. In 6, we had 2. So then you come back and look at the data and ask, what happened for these 2? Did we send out the notification early? Were we late? Were we slow? You deal with those things as they come along. All right. Which means then you must reflect weekly or reflect daily. Some of us who are moving a lot of product every day, part of your daily reflection is looking at your sales. You say we moved 100 pieces, 5 are on credit, 15 were pre-orders that we had not delivered from yesterday, and the rest were cash sales for today. That gives you not only outcomes, it shows you the effort you're putting in. And then the other thing you must do is you must stay in community. Isolation amplifies fear. So who are you spending time with and saying, I tried to sell yesterday, it did not work. And then we can ask, why didn't it work? And we can help you, figure out. The word in my mind is chambua. You can dig up and sort through and figure out why it did not work. You see, consistency outlasts motivation. Motivation means today I feel like I do it, tomorrow I don't feel like. Consistency understands that when I'm on the shop floor every day, number one, we will move product. Number two, we will understand our clients. Number three, we'll have data we can use to make our next set of decisions. But confidence grows over time. It is maintained over time. So remember in that step where we said start small and have small victories. So then as you have small victories, then what are you able to do? You're able to maintain your confidence because every day is growing a little bit more and a little bit and a little bit and a little bit. So it's going like that. Why is that important? When it comes to sales, people buy from people they know, they like, and they trust. So to make a good sale, they must feel understood, feel safe, and be clear of the need that they're resolving. So your role before you come to your sales, remember, we keep talking about knowing your customer. So you've done your KYCs, you do your know your customer both for your marketing, you do it for your sales, and you ensure that you remain on that place with them. Because sales work when trust is established. And sometimes you build trust by having a sample. I'll go back to the lady I buy a lot of my shea butter products from. She has little sizes at very affordable prices so that you can test the product. You test the product, you like it. If you're like me, hook, line, and sinker, you're in. When you give feedback that this is not working, she'll be like, okay, maybe that product isn't for you. She'll give you an option. All right. So that way, what has she done? She has established trust. Again, her role is to ensure you have the best skin ever. So her problem is clearly stated that your skin is good because remember we are in the tropics, so we need this color. So our skin color is ideal for where we are. Let's improve. What does improve mean? Clear. If you've got blemishes, improve means keep it supple, keep it well nourished. So it's clear if your skin is rough, if you the sun burns you, we have the sunscreen. For your lips, cracked lips are not cool, they're not good for your health. We have this. So she's actually answering to individual needs. And then the curiosity we have of how is this stuff made? So she will show behind the scenes, right? What does that do? It makes the solution feel aligned to what we're looking for. So sales happen when the solution feels aligned and then the decision feels unforced. You have brought me to the point where I understand the product, I see the value, and therefore I purchase. So fear-based selling produces pressure. You know that enough. If you don't, you will never be. We're not going to do those things. There are even people who sell health products based on fear. If you don't take this, you will grow quickly. You will fall and break your bone. So now you want me to take calcium because you have prescribed or what's the word, forecasted or prophesied that I will fall. Eh? So now it's a fear-based purchase as opposed to what we call a clarity-based purchase, where I'm buying because um you have answered my questions and I feel drawn in. So fear-based gives pressure. When we're clear about what we're buying, we have clarity and we feel drawn into the space of purchasing. And we must remember that people are deciding time, relevance, and readiness. So I repeat, a no is not a rejection of you as a person. It is the person on the other side deciding time, relevance, readiness, and readiness includes the readiness of their pocket. It is the person on the other side assessing whether is this the right time for me to do what I'm doing. Do you have questions out to them or reflections or insights? Does someone have something they want to reflect about? The floor is open or a question to ask.
I think
Just
for me, it's just.
Mhm.
I think for me, it's just the realization that it's not a skills gap, but an identity wound.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that, there's so much to unpacking that. Then uh, you have to go back to the places where you think you have failed and realize. Then for me, I'm just thinking back. Did I fail because I didn't know, or did I fail because I did not step out in who I truly was?
Mm.
And so then I haven't failed. I just need to heal. I need to go back and open that, so to speak, Pandora's box. Because
Mm.
we're not attending, and I guess we are taught somehow, don't open the Pandora's box. It's a kind of worms. But if you
Yeah.
don't deal with what is causing, then it will eat me. If you
Mm.
have a wound and you have worms in it, the doctors will take out the flesh.
Mm-hmm.
And if we don't, then there's potential that I die. So I'm just
Mm.
thinking, okay, so then sales is not a giant after all. It's just a perception because I responded from a place of woundedness as opposed to not knowing. I know, so I can go back, like you've given us those tips. Can I go back and rephrase the rejection? Can I, when I have questions, when I hear that voice of rejection, can I go back and speak different over it?
Mm. Absolutely. I love that. I completely love that. Thank you. I can see in the chat, I need a lot of introspection. Yes, Shiro, I can see you're unmuted.
Yeah, yeah. For me, what I wanted to say is like number one to appreciate because after the recap of like last time, of setting direction first and letting everybody else follow, and from a conversation we had earlier,
Mm.
actually what I was intending to do now in Malindi is something very different.
Mm-hmm.
And actually, I traveled back today, and what I'm coming up with from part of the conversation we have had, I'm actually now setting up a place where I'll be doing board games, and I already did my purchases last week. So I
Mm.
wanted to say that I'm appreciating it's working mudogo mudogo. It's not. This is not an animal now. This is not like the WDB. So it's making a lot of sense because I didn't travel down with my money now. I made purchases, and I've
Mm.
already gotten a place. Uh, and my being in this Tuesday class is really helping a lot. So just wanted to appreciate that and say I am one of the people who are following it step by step.
Excellent. Because it is step by step. If you ask us how we've done it step by step. If we tell you we woke up and it was working, that would be a lie. Excellent. I see. Very powerful, very courageous. You see, this is the thing, my people. If you are going to grow, then we have to be honest about what has helped us grow. Miriam, go ahead. I saw your microphone unmuted.
I think I'm laughing. It's been a whole cycle. And then coming today, the conversation is very timely. But there's a thing you said that really struck: identity. Where do we draw our identity from?
Mm.
Because I'm like, that is what has made us up, like from all of eternity.
Yes.
I mean, Eve did have to go far. Like, did God really say that? And I think that's a constant battle we're battling, especially when it comes from quarters that you did think, like, if family said one thing, you're to this, you're to that, friends say one thing, and then it moves from everyone else to us doing it to ourselves, like, because we owned the label. You own the label and you didn't see that somewhere along the way, they may have been villains, but guess who the biggest villain is in the room? All the four fingers pointing at us. And until we get to the point where we're able to take back and be like, whose report will I believe? And I think that's a question I've been asking myself. Whose report will I believe? The report of the next business partner, my friends, my colleagues, my family, or am I believing God's report? And I think that then gives us the power to thrust into the God ordained visions and dreams. And I think taking significance in, like, I think the lady who just spoke, I'm sorry, I didn't see Shiro, I think. We look for such grand things to attach ourselves. You know, if it was growing up, have you gone to high school, the best high school? Have you got which university? Is it the local one or is it the now it's even international? Have you done your master's? Have you done your PhD? Which job have you gotten? You know, and it doesn't end. Oh, now you got a job. What level did you enter? What was your starting salary? You know, and it goes, what project? Now you get what project? What title? Have you added to your learning and all those things? Are you married? Do you have children? Is it a child? Is it children? Are you a grandparent? Have you bought? Are you renting? 1 bedroom, 3 bed. Ah, me have bought. Umenunua nini? Do you have anything? And I'm like, the cycle is so tiring, and I don't think there's a place you actually get out of it until you decisively do what you said. Where is our identity coming from? What is
Yes.
our report? Are we fulfilling the God ordained mandate? So even if we're starting small, like she said, she started her board games, started something. Like maybe that's what God wants you to do, and that's your big thing. As you said, you've had trainings here, you have times you've had 10 people, 12 people, two. And what if those two are just the ones God wanted and that was the ministry for the day? So I
Absolutely.
think coming back to asking myself, whose report am I believing? What is the report? What is the mandate? I think I'm ready for action. So I think I'm challenged to start or continue where I'm at and to make those steps decisively because my every decision is a breakthrough for the person after me. If I don't, there might be so many people whose lives are not altered because I refuse to move. But even for me, maybe I'll not live in the best God has for me. So I think it's a powerful, powerful reflection.
I like that. And I think there are people who have laughed because they identify with the never ending requirements and demands from the community. Excellent. So I think on that note, I shall call it a night because you see, this is the thing. When you understand what you're dealing with, then you have the capacity to resolve it. I have a time challenge. So then, am I sleeping too much? Am I sleeping too little? Am I having a time challenge because I'm exhausted? So I'm taking much longer to do things than I should. Am I hydrated? Am I fed? Do I have energy? The time challenge could be so many more things. So then you begin to unpack the issue in its totality as opposed to dealing with symptoms. So I'm so excited that we had it this way because sometimes sales looks like this big animal. Shiro likes saying ni munyama. For our international audience, that means munyama is an animal. So it's bite size. How do you eat an elephant? One bite at a time. How do you change a tire? You open one nut at a time. And if it is difficult, I don't know if you guys do this. I was taught by my brother, you put the spanner in such a way that you can use your body weight to open it. So my challenge to us is to ask ourselves a few questions, and I will drop them there in the chat. What early messages shaped how I feel about being seen? And these are your reflections to do during the week, not for now. And then what has fear disguised itself as wisdom or waiting? Where has fear disguised itself as wisdom or waiting? Do you realize procrastination is really fear? All right. And the final question I would like you to ask yourself in your reflection is what would change if I believed rejection cannot harm me? What would change? What would change if I believed rejection cannot harm me? So those are reflections for the week and just a realization that it is possible, nothing is impossible. It is absolutely possible. We just need to put our hand to the plow and do the work of recognize the fear, overcome the fear, and build our confidence. And remember, and I will end with this, we are more than conquerors through him who loves us. So I'm not in this battle alone. I'm not on this journey alone. I have my belief systems, but I also have my people, my community, the ones I'm accountable to, the ones that when I'm stranded trying to get back to a location to set up, I call and they show up. Over to you, Joe. I think I will stop there. Not I think, I know I will stop there.
It's a pause. You're not stopping. It's just a pause. So a pause is allowed. So thank you so much, Coach Subire. Where I was sitting here taking notes, very reflective. Thank you so much for that conversation. What would change if I believed rejection could not harm me? Bolder, more confident, and run with the word of God and the mandate that he's given me to go and execute. So thank you for that reminder that we are here and we are moving. Let's give Chesubire her flowers while she is still here, not when she is gone. Thank you very much, Chesubire. So emoji reactions, those things people do, they do lulu lulu lulu, ama luli lili. I don't know what it is called. That one. We can be able to give her that. So, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for joining us today. Chesubire, do we have the closing slides somewhere? Thank you. So we always ask what comes next. So for us this month, we are running the Ashara Basics from end of January. The link is being shared on chat. You can register or you can share it with someone who would like to either get into business or is already in business and is looking for clarity to make sure that they stay grounded and they have the right foundation. Or if the foundation was not right, because they've already started, we help them be able to strengthen their foundation as they move forward. So kindly register or share with someone. I believe we had a discount. Yes, we had a discount. Sorry, ladies and gentlemen, I changed my specs and I'm not adjusting nicely. You know, we used to wear many specs. Now they are making us wear one. Good. So the initial cost was 10,000 shillings, but our community and our sponsors have stepped in and said, let's start the year well for your circle community, discounted to 5,000 shillings. So let's run with it. Register and let's move. We'll also be running a WIDB Women in Digital Business course starting, I think, 28th of January for 12 weeks, Chesubire, if I'm not wrong.
Yes.
Good. 300,000 Ugandan shillings, 10,000 shillings, Kenya shillings, and 85 US dollars. This is an ITC ILO approved course. With this, you could also be on your way to becoming a trainer. But the most important thing is for it to help you understand how to place yourself in the digital space and run. So it will run from 28th of January, yes, 8 to 10 a.m. every Wednesday for 12 weeks. Looking forward to working with all of us and as many of us can join. And ladies and gentlemen, yes, I know it's called Women in Digital Business, but it's for everyone. I've also done it. Next time I'll display my certificate so that you can see I also did it. So the men in the room, please sign up for it also. Very good course. It helps us move forward. Then a big thank you to our sponsors and collaborators who ensure that we keep running. And because of them, the circle community exists. So our partners, just go back to that slide first, Chesibre, that one. Thank you. Our partners, allow us to say thank you very much to all the work that you do behind the scenes to make sure that we can stay, even giving us offers. I think you will see a lot of that, like there was one that was there this week, this past week, where there was a vision boarding exercise and we got some free tickets from our sponsors to enable our members from the circle community to attend. So thank you very much, AFI Solutions, China Publishers, Regroup, Shala Global, the Cube Innovation Hub, Akiko Stories, Haki Integrated Services, SOA Events Institute, Oral Essentials, Thai Events, Conscious Works Consult, Zurich Consulting, and Business Support Africa. We will keep on working to make sure that we get as many opportunities that help us strengthen our members. Thank you, Shiro. Yay! Yes, that WADB is great. And so, ladies and gentlemen, because we are all in the circle and we throw these things in the circle in terms of opportunities, ideas, events, we are looking forward to co-curating and collaborating more events with you. We would invite you to join the circle if you're not a member of the circle. Or if you have a friend who you think would benefit from being in this place, allow them to join the circle. You're a catalyst of transformation, and we look forward to working with you. We empower and inspire each other to move forward. We're in a world that keeps on changing, but the world always needs transformational leaders like you and I. So let us collaborate and build that world together. Allow me to thank the rest of the accountability crew, Miss T-Bags, Miss Felicity, Miss Mimo, Mr. Kwe, Miss Wamboi, Miss Julia. Thank you so much for your support in ensuring that this program keeps on happening and that even other activities to help us build. And ladies and gentlemen, let me give you a secret. Just take one thing, implement. Then come back. Let's have that story in 90 days, 180 days, and in 365 days. Looking forward to continue working with you. Chesubire, as I appreciate our community and them being here always, may they be rewarded in excess of the sacrifices that I make. My question to you this evening. What is that one thing you would like us not to forget? On 20th of January, 2026, it will never come back. Sure. Thank you. I know you're getting back your energy. You know you used a lot of energy to dispense wisdom, so you need to get it back to continue dispensing wisdom.
Be sure of who you are, and then nothing can shift you. Just be sure of who you are, nothing can shift you. When life tries to tell you something else, you can tell it, and nothing can shift you. Then nothing can shift you.
All right, thank you.
Comes and throws a storm at you, you can remind it. My name is Chesubire. I'm a tree planted by the rivers that brings fruit in season. So go there. And then when you're certain of who you are, even a rejection, yes, it hurts, but it doesn't change your sense of identity. So be sure of who you are, then life can't shift you.
Thank you very much. Be sure of who you are when life will not shift you. And on that note, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for attending today's event, for being here, for participating, for giving us your feedback. On behalf of the MC crew, our lead coach, Chesubire Talitwala, I remain the original Joe Mukoko. I wish you a good evening, good day, good afternoon, wherever it is you're joining us from. You're blessed. Thank you.